At 49 years old, Kandi has stepped into a moment that feels like the emotional climax of her entire life story. A moment where decades of hidden truth, unspoken pain, and deeply buried memories finally rose to the surface after years of pressure, silence, and the expectation that she always had to be the strong one, the professional one, the one who never breaks, never complains, never exposes the people who hurt her, and never admits how much the world's eyes have weighed on her heart. And when she finally opened up, she didn't just tell a story, she released an entire lifetime of betrayal, disappointment, and emotional exhaustion that she carried behind her calm smile, behind her thriving businesses, behind her awards, behind her family, behind her brand, and behind the image of a woman who seemed unshakable. Kandi admitted that from the very beginning, from the moment she entered the music industry as a teenage girl in Escape, she experienced betrayal before she even knew how to define the word. She described how early success brought more chaos than celebration, how jealousy and envy began creeping through friendships she thought she could trust, how every studio session was filled with unspoken tension, and how every performance came with a backstage shadow of bitterness, whispered conversations, and resentment from people she loved with her whole heart. She said she carried wounds from those years that she never gave herself permission to feel because she was too busy writing hit songs, too busy touring, too busy trying to keep peace in a group that didn't always value her emotional well-being. And when she transitioned from music to reality TV, she entered an even harsher battlefield. A space where friendships were tested, reputations were targeted, and storylines were built on exposing personal pain. Kandi shared how being on The Real Housewives of Atlanta meant living in a world where private moments became public property, where rumors traveled faster than truth, where alliances shifted overnight, and where people she called sisters became the same people who weaponized her vulnerabilities for attention. She explained how she endured scenes that fans thought were entertaining, but that left her crying off camera. Scenes where she watched people twist her intentions, question her loyalty, and gossip about her as though she wasn't a human being with real feelings. She admitted that she kept her silence, not because she was weak, but because she refused to become someone who fought fire with fire, even though each rumor, each accusation, and each betrayal sliced deeper than she ever let the world see. And then came the confession the world didn't expect. Kandi revealed that many of the rumors people debated for years, rumors about her relationships, her career, her disagreements, her group, her castmates, were connected to real-life betrayals. She stayed silent about to avoid wrecking people's careers, destroying families, or exposing truths too messy and painful to unpack publicly. She said she chose silence to protect others, even when they never protected her. She chose loyalty even when others gave her lies. She chose maturity even when others chose drama. She chose to be the bigger person even when her heart felt beaten down by disappointment. She described how the pain built over years, layer by layer, until she found herself emotionally numb, going through motions, filming scenes, performing, managing businesses, smiling for cameras, all while feeling like she was slowly sinking under the weight of secrets she never got to release. She confessed that the worst betrayals came from people she trusted the most. People who knew her insecurities, knew her past, knew her dreams, knew her struggles, and still used that knowledge against her when the lights were brightest. She admitted that some days she doubted herself, doubted her purpose, doubted her ability to keep going, and even questioned whether staying silent was worth the emotional toll it took on her spirit. And yet, after all of that, she said this moment of truth, this moment of saying everything she was too afraid to say before, became the most freeing experience of her entire life. She said she now accepts every rumor, every betrayal, every lesson, every painful memory because owning it gives her power instead of letting it haunt her. She said she is done shielding people who hurt her, done pretending she's unaffected, done letting lies shape her reputation, and done allowing anyone else to control the narrative of her life. She declared that this moment marks a new chapter, a chapter defined by honesty, strength, clarity, healing, self-respect, and a level of emotional freedom she's never known. And now, as she stands in her truth with more courage than ever, fans say this is the most powerful, vulnerable, and unforgettable moment Kandi Burruss has ever given the world. A moment that not only reveals the woman behind the but also proves that no matter how strong someone appears, everyone has a breaking point, and everyone deserves to finally be free.